I was wondering, like, when we attain salvation, do we leave the universe? Like, what happens to us?
Leaving this material world and body is inevitable if we are saying that we have attained salvation. Now, specifically, if we talk about Bhakti Margi, our Pushtimargi Phal, the varieties of salvation in our Sampradaya, then we can say that the type of mukti, which is known as alaukik samarthya, is defined as the type of salvation in which we are on the earth, we are performing seva, and we are not remaining with any of the worldly attachments, and therefore we don't have the we are not supposed to be born again and again. Now this is our last birth. So this is considered as Jivan Mukti. The salvation is of two types, Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti means that we are alive, but still we are free from all the bondages, and therefore we are not left out with any of our karma which are going to affect us in future. So this is the condition which is known as Jivan Mukti, in which we are free only. And the second one is Videha Mukti. It means that when we get free from both the bodies, and we are our Atma, our soul, is going to be free from the universe and will attain some result. If we say about our Sampradaya, then we will go to the Vaikunt, the place where Bhagavan Sri Krishna resides. And if a person is following any other path for attaining salvation, then he will attain the salvation accordingly. So being on the earth, we can be free, we can be known as being salvated, but only if we are free from all the bondages of karma in future. But after Jivan Mukti, some or the other day, we will be free from the material world and material body, and will be on some particular place. It depends upon the path we had followed for attaining salvation.
Okay, thank you. I understand.
Okay. Anything else? Fine. You can continue.
Service is necessity, not duty. According to Sri Vallabhacharya, service of Sri Krishna is not a duty, but it is a requirement. It is an inevitable necessity. Words like duty and obligation fall short in evaluating service. Instincts like eating and breathing are natural among animals to sustain their life. These activities are inborn in them. A living being needs no instruction as to the acts of eating and breathing. Similarly, service of Sri Krishna is a necessity of Pushti beings. Sri Vallabhacharya says that the very existence of a follower of Pushti devotion is meaningless without Sri Krishna's service. Here a question arises. If Sri Krishna's service is necessity, why don't Pushti beings become automatically aware of their necessity today? So basically this part of the book is saying that our service to Sri Krishna Bhagwan isn't like something that we can do, it's something that we need to do, and Sri Vallabhacharya says that there's no point in being a Pushti devotee if we don't contribute our service to Sri Krishna Bhagwan, because that's like showing us that we are devoted to Sri Krishna Bhagwan.
Yeah. So the main thing which we have from this topic is that for Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna is not a duty. Means duty is what we understand by is that, for example, I am asking you to do something, and I say that this is your duty which you have to follow. So if you are ready or if you are not ready, if you want to do or if you want not to do, but some are the activities which are a part of our duty and we cannot escape from those duties. So Mahaprabhuji explains service towards Sri Krishna, our seva, it is our duty, it is our necessity. Means Because of our body, our soul is inside our body, and the attachment towards body and all the materials which are related to our body, our soul is not able to understand its demands. In the next paragraph, we are going to so thing is, our body and our worldly bondages, our soul is not able to understand, and even we are not able to understand. And what do we want? We always feel these are the materials which are around us by which we have to remain happy. These are our requirements, and we have to fulfill our requirements, our materialistic requirements. But this is not what Mahaprabhuji wants to explain us as. According to Mahaprabhuji, our body is going to perish. This is the basic concept of any other religion. All religious activity, may it be from Christianity or Islam, everything starts from the thought of soul only. No one concentrates upon body, and everyone needs to explain these things very carefully, because we are not able to understand the demands of our soul, and our soul always remains submerged under the pressure of our materialistic requirements, which are inspired by our body. So Mahaprabhuji wants to explain that Mahaprabhuji wants to say that existence of a follower of Pushti devotion is meaningless without Krishna Seva, because we are here for attaining Krishna, and the only way to be near Krishna is to love him, and the expression of the love is seva or service towards Sri Krishna. So it is not just our duty, but obviously in the initial stage, when we don't realize our duties or we don't realize all the things, during that period obviously we perform Krishna Seva considering it as our duty and for following the orders of Mahaprabhuji. We don't realize that this is our necessity. But as we go on following the things, we start realizing that now we are not able to survive without Krishna Seva, or we feel empty if we don't have to perform Seva. Being with Krishna becomes our necessity. It just doesn't remain our duty. But this doesn't happen on the initial stage. Initially, we are explained by our Guru, we and instead considering Krishna Seva as our duty, which is explained to us by Shiva. So initially we start like this, but later on we start develop the feeling of love and necessity towards Krishna Seva. As we find in the story of Chaurasi Dosuva and Vaishnavarta, that they were not able to survive without Krishna. Even for a minute they were not able to remain away from Bhagavan. Or even Bhagavan used to be near them. We find in the story of Gajandavan, one of the disciples of Sri Mahaprabhuji. Once Mahaprabhuji's wife told Gajandavan to purchase some pan for Bidi. So Gajandavan went to the market. Even this was a part of Krishna Seva. But suddenly he fainted on the way because he was not able to stay away from his Thakurji. And because he was very old and he was not able to perform seva, so with the wish of Sri Thakurji used to stay with Mahaprabhuji and Gajandavan. Even he came to stay with Mahaprabhuji only. So here Gajandavan fainted. On the other side, even Thakurji told Mahaprabhuji that till the time Gajandavan is not back home, I won't have Rajbhog, I won't have food. So Mahaprabhuji told his wife that don't send Gajandavan anywhere from here. So what love is, this is what attachment is. So even Gajandavan was attached with Bhagavan, and because of that love of Gajandavan towards Bhagavan, even Bhagavan were attached with. So this is what we call as necessity. This is not duty. This is not the feeling of duty. This is the feeling of necessity, that we are not able to survive. Any questions? Okay, continue.
Why is necessity of Sri Krishna's service not experienced? Scriptures say that every animate creature and inanimate object can be analyzed in 3 phases. Therefore, in the case of a human being, such phases can be understood thus. Adibhautik, physical external phase regarding the body. Adhyamik, spiritual eternal phase regarding mind, intellect, citta, ahankara, and other senses. Adidaivik, divine, the inmost phase regarding the individual soul. The physical life is the most external phase of human life. However, it is highly influential. In comparison with the physical life, spiritual life is an internal phase. The rise of Adibhautik phase suppresses spiritual phase in human being. The divine phase is the innermost phase of human life. Under the impact of Adibhautik phase, divine phase also gets suppressed. Corresponding to these 3 phases, there are 3 instincts that reside in every human being. Physical instinctual urge, air, food, water, sleep, etc. Spiritual impulse, satisfaction, mercy, tolerance, etc., and good conduct as per religious scriptures. Divine impulse, devotion of Bhagwan. Devotion of Bhagwan is the divine impulse of a human being. Upsurge of the instinctual urge decreases intensity of the divine impulse of devotion. It remains concealed in the human soul and cannot have an outlet. This is the reason why every Pushti being can't experience this necessity. This point requires more clarification.
Can you summarize and explain this much?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So basically, this section is talking about the 3 phases, the Adibhautik, which is the physical phase, the Adhyamik, the spiritual phase, and the Adidaivik, which is the divine phase. And it talks about how the devotion of Bhagwan is a part of the Adidaivik phase, and that this upsurge can decrease the intensity of all the other phases because our devotion to Bhagwan is highly influential.
Now the main question here which arises in our mind is that if we are saying that our soul is departed from Bhagwan and we are a part of Bhagwan, if the whole universe is a form of Bhagwan and we are so close to Bhagwan, even then we are not able to realize our love towards him, or we don't feel that Krishna Seva or being near to Krishna is our necessity. So why this happens? So the process is explained here that our soul is a part of Bhagwan. It is departed from Bhagwan, to which we say that Jeev is Ansh and Bhagwan is Anshi. So we are a part of Bhagwan and Bhagwan is really very close to us. There is nothing so that Bhagwan is very far away from us. It is not so. But even though we don't realize that Krishna Seva is our necessity, and we don't feel that urge of performing Krishna Seva. Why this happens? So the answer is that there are 3 phases of a human being, or actually of each and every material. Whatever we see around, we have these 3 phases. The first is Adibhautik, second is Adhyatmik, and the third is Adidaivik. So Adibhautik, we would like to say that our body, our physical body, which is the outermost phase. Adhyatmik means our soul, which is a spiritual or internal phase, and it can be things about our mind, our chitta, ahankar, and our other senses. And the third one is Adidaivik, the divine, the innermost, regarding our individual soul. So these are the 3 phases. Now, our physical life is the most external phase, and it is very obvious that even we are realizing and experiencing whatever is happening to our body and whatever our body demands. So we are not able to feel what our soul wants because of being attached with our body since many years and since many ages actually. Our Atma is not able to understand or realize its individual existence. So our atma, our soul, continuously it feels that even I am body, all the bodily requirements are my requirements, all the happiness and sadness which are felt by our body are my happiness and sadness. So these are the feelings of our soul, and therefore our soul, as our soul is not able to detach itself from our body, we are not able to understand the requirements of our body independently, and therefore we don't realize that Krishna Seva is our duty, it is our necessity, and not only fulfilling our materialistic requirements is our duty. So the demands are also explained here, that physical urge is air, body, water, sleep, etc., which are related with our body. The spiritual impulse is satisfaction, mercy, tolerance, good conduct, as explained in the religious scripture. So these are our spiritual requirements. And the divine impulse means the requirement of our soul is our devotion towards Bhagavan. Means it wants to remain near Bhagavan, it wants to be with Bhagavan. Our soul wants to be with Bhagavan. So this is the requirement of our soul. Now, because of being suppressed under our physical needs and under the needs of our mind and chit, etc., our soul is not able to identify its requirements. But when we try to free our soul from the attachment of this body, at that moment our Atma starts realizing that it is a part of Bhagavan, and so its real happiness is to be with Bhagavan. When we realize this properly, it is the moment when we feel that Krishna Seva is our necessity and not our duty.
I have a question.
Yeah, one by one. Yes, you can speak.
So, do non-living objects also have the three phases of Adibhautik, Adhyatmik, and Adidevik?
No, they just have only one phase. See, it depends. Comparatively, we have to understand this. If you are asking this in the context of soul, then non-living organisms don't have soul. Non-living things, they don't have soul. So there is no point of having the spiritual and divine phase. They only have external phase. Now, if we change the scenario a bit, as Mahaprabhuji explains for the river Ganga, we can understand likewise that the water which is visible, the physical water of river Ganga is the Adibhautik phase. The spirituality of Ganga, which we consider as Tirtha, as a holy place, holy water, is the spiritual phase of Ganga, and the form of Ganga Devi, the goddess Ganga, is the divine phase of the river. So if we consider this way, we can say that each and every material in this universe has Adibhautik, Adhyatmik, and Adidevik phases. But if we are considering it on the context of soul, then we can say that all the non-living things don't have soul. So we are not considering their three phases. We are just considering about living organisms, and specifically that too about human beings only. Because all the other bodies which our soul attains, of animals or plants, though they are living organisms, but still they don't have that awareness, because they are supposed to be for the sake of their body only, and they experience the result of the bad deeds they had done in their former life.
I understand.
Okay. Yeah, someone else was asking.
Yeah, so my question was like, why do we like forget we are like the Ans of Thakurji? Is it because of like the Kalyug, or is like does it depend on like the type of Jew?
No, we don't forget. Actually, we stop realizing the same under the pressure of our materialistic demands and materialistic world. Our soul, when our soul enters our body, it loses the awareness of being different from the body, and it starts feeling that, for example, my soul won't feel that no, I am not Maitri, I am different from this body. Because of being attached, strongly attached with our body, our soul starts feeling that, yeah, my name is Maitri, I am a female, I am daughter of this and this family, and these are the demands I have, these are the things which I want. So these are the materialistic demands which are actually related to our body. Our soul starts feeling that all these are mine, and because of that our soul remains attached with our body, and therefore it starts losing its independent existence and awareness. So the juncture when we start making our soul realize its own independent form, its own understanding, then our soul can understand that my demands are different and the body is different from me, and I have to detach myself from all these things. The requirements of my body are not the requirements of the soul. They are different. So when we strongly make our soul realize the same, only then our soul starts understanding and realizing its requirements. But till the date we make our soul remain attached with our body and materialistic demands, our soul is not able to understand that I am different from the body and my requirements are not the same.
Okay, thank you.
I also had a question.
Yes.
So, I think I might have summarized wrong. So, the physical urge overrules the spiritual and the divine urge?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So the physical, like, instinctual urge, like, if we don't have air, food, water, sleep, like, that will overrule, like, our spiritual impulses or our divine impulses?
No, we cannot say so, because our soul is not a material, and therefore no material is required. So soul is a different thing. Same way the spiritual desire is also a different thing, because it is inspired by the scriptures, and we develop that understanding only after reading scriptures. It is, even that is not a materialistic demand which we feel by our body. They are not imposed by our soul. They are different. They are just related to our physical body. But the demands of physical body are imposed on the soul, as soul is not able to identify itself different from the physical body.
Oh, okay. I understand now.
Fine. So I think let us conclude here. Go through the subject. This is the most important part, which is to be understood. And actually, we are not discussing this subject only on the basis of our sampradaya, but completely about Hinduism and each and every fact of Hinduism, because all the religious thoughts and all the religious practices, they start with the thought of soul, not with the body. So try to understand this concept properly. Let me know if there are more confusion. We will discuss it tomorrow. But try to understand this very well, so that we can completely understand that why the Krishna Seva is the necessity of our Atma and not of our body, or how our soul and body are distinct from each other. Try to understand this properly. We will again discuss it tomorrow.